So that's sort of the backstory about this particular data set. Now, one thing I really want to stress is whenever we get a new data set, the very first thing we need to do is understand what each row represents. I will tell you in this particular example that each row in this data set we see here actually represents an individual patient appointment. So if one patient has 10 appointments, then we should see a particular patient with 10 rows within this data set. And very quickly, if we go through the columns here of this data set, we have this column called patient ID. It's sort of almost like a social security number. It's a unique identifier for a given patient within this electronic health record system. Next, there's this appointment ID, which is a unique identifier for a given appointment for a patient. So you should not see more than one unique number here within the entire data set. It should be completely unique throughout the data set. And then we have gender, we have when did the patient schedule the appointment, then we have the appointment date, which is when is the patient actually going to come in for that appointment. We have the patient's age, where is the neighborhood of the actual clinic, whether or not the patient is on welfare, do they have hypertension, diabetes, alcoholism, are they handicapped, did they receive a text message before their appointment, and then finally, was the visit a no-show? So that's the very last column here. So that's a quick overview of what this data set is. And again, that's probably a good idea whenever you get a data set, is just to get familiar with what the columns mean, as well as what does each row represent within the data set, because that's very important as you start to draw conclusions.